Welcome to a special emergency broadcast edition of Super Mystery Bros. My name's Nate, and with me is Kyle because Ivan's going through some shit right now. Kyle, what's going on with you?
Oh, not much, man. I was gonna actually ask you the same question. You called this emergency meeting of the minds. What is going on?
So apparently, the Patterson-Gimlin film is looking like it's confirmed to be a hoax. The information is still preliminary right now, so this episode could age worse than any other episode we've done. But right now, it's looking like it's over, guys. It's over. Kyle, what do you know about the Patterson-Gimlin film? You know, we covered this in episode 24, but you were not a part of the episode. It was me and Ivan. So what do you know about it?
So I know that the Patterson-Gimlin film is the most famous Bigfoot sighting recorded on film ever. You know, it is like the gold standard metric of is Bigfoot real or not. And when you guys did the episode, you didn't cover is Bigfoot real or not. You just focused on is the film real or not.
Correct.
And I don't know if I ever gave my opinion, but you know, just like you, I used to believe the film was real. You know, when I first started watching documentaries of Bigfoot way back in the day,
right?
You know, but as time goes on, you know, especially like this day and age with, you know, infrared drones and satellite imagery in the world becoming a smaller and smaller place, you know, and we still have not yet turned up concrete evidence of Bigfoot existing. It does, you know, call into question is it real or not? You know, I have less and less faith that the film was ever real in the first place.
Yeah, and that's a very reasonable position to take. And basically, my own story when it comes to the film is identical to yours. You know, growing up, you know, going from being a kid into a teenager, all the documentaries we would watch on this would heavily shill this film as being, there's no way that this is a guy in a costume because whatever reason, the limb proportions are off or whatever, which before we really dig into this, I keep forgetting to mention this on the show, but I've been recording videos of myself just talking open-endedly about certain topics on YouTube. So if you want to jump over to there and you want to see me actually talk about certain stuff, you can. I released a video of myself talking about this very subject yesterday, and it's blowing up harder than anything else we've ever published. So hop on over to there if you haven't already. But anyway, what were we just talking about? I lost my train of thought.
Our original and current views on the authenticity of the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Okay, right. So there would be people like Dr. Jeff Meldrum, he passed away 6 months ago, but he was an anthropologist at Idaho State University, and he staked his professional reputation on the line by coming out and being interviewed, going on documentaries, vouching for the film's authenticity. And all it took now to basically all but debunk this film, I mean, that's what it's looking like at this moment, is a documentary filmmaker who, I guess he contacted somebody within the extended Patterson-Gimlin circle, and was able to dig up this long-lost 16 millimeter film, that was locked away in a safe for over 50 years. And what it shows is an alleged dry run of the Patterson-Gimlin film. Now, according to a couple people that were actually there at the premiere of this film at South by Southwest, basically they're saying, look, it's over, guys. It's over. It's the same suit. It's the same patty suit. It even has the same breasts on it, which was also a point of contention because in the original Patterson-Gimlin film, it has breasts, dangling breasts. And a lot of believers in the film would point to this and say, there's no way you could have faked that in 1967, therefore this is real. Maybe it wasn't just that, but that was like a huge reason for them to believe in this film, is because it had breasts. Now, to me, I always thought that I don't think breasts would be that hard of a thing to put onto a costume. And the reason for that, I think, could be one of two reasons or even both. One could be if the creature in the film has breasts, I think that would lend authenticity to the film, right? Because it's like, who would have the foresight to include breasts on an ape costume, right?
Right? Or yeah, to even suggest that there is a female of the species, right? Because we all, just imagine Bigfoot being a dude, right? Because
Right.
we're just a fucking chauvinist fucking male species that like, oh, everything interesting is always a dude, But yeah, that definitely lends credibility to the existence of these creatures, and their ability to procreate is, of course, there being a female of the species. So I think that's a very nice touch.
Right. And then the other potential reason is, dirty cowboy joke. Maybe he just had a dirty mind, which actually, Roger Patterson, the guy who is responsible for this film, he actually released a book a couple years prior to the shooting of this film, and he actually drew like an artistic representation of these so-called Bigfoots, right? And in one drawing, he drew a female with breasts. So it's not unprecedented to think that he would have imagined a female Bigfoot having breasts.
Right.
So it's not like this was impossible for him to have ever conceived of doing. So it would have just added one more layer of complexity to the potential costume. But as Bill Munn says, are you familiar with Bill Munns, by the way?
Not really, no. I mean, I know the name that it is tied to Bigfoot in the Patterson Gimlin film and other things, but I don't really know much about Bill Munns.
So Bill Munns was a Hollywood, or is a Hollywood costume designer, and I can't remember what movies he's worked on, but he's kind of this renowned costume designer, and he was also one of the people who staked his reputation on this, there being no way of this being a man in a suit. And what he would do, he's basically like all the other YouTubers out there. He would go on record as saying, like the limb measurements are off and the limb proportions are off. And I've explained this a few times in the past, where you can't just take a 2D still, like a still frame of a 3D object in a 2D still frame, start drawing 2D lines over it, and call that a valid measurement, because you don't know what angle it's shot at. Like, for example,
Yeah.
I'll give you like an extreme example. If you shoot somebody from above with a fisheye lens, you can't just draw 2D lines over their arms and legs and say, wow, their head is way too big for their body. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. I mean, I don't think that really applies in that extreme of a sense, because the
I know.
Patterson-Gimlin film was not used. Yeah.
I'm giving
But yeah,
an
no,
extreme example
yeah.
so that you
But yes,
understand
yeah.
the concept.
Yes, yes, you are right. There's no way to truly tell, depth of field and distance, with like you said, a 2D still from a film.
Correct. So I always took the position, like, there are some famous YouTubers. For example, there's a guy who goes by Thinker Thunker on YouTube, and that's exactly what he does. And he goes on these smug rants about how there's no way this could be a person in a suit, because he takes this grainy frame of the Patterson Gimlin film subject and he starts drawing 2D lines over it, where, for one, you don't know which angle the limb is skewed at, so you can't accurately measure the length of the limb anyway. And then on top of that, you don't know the exact camera angle either of this, between the subject and the camera. You don't know what camera angle that is. And then you also don't know what size lens is being used on the camera. And you also don't know the distance. So there's no way for you to actually accurately make a determination like that.
Yeah. I get that it can be used in like a general sense, drawing lines on a picture, but you're right. As far as accuracy goes, yeah, you can't, measurements are all based on accuracy anyways.
Correct. So anyway, like I said, when Ivan and I did that episode 24, go back and listen to it if you haven't already. We took a lot of heat for that. We took more heat for that episode than all the other episodes combined.
Well, you were shattering people's belief system, you know.
Well, it's not me shattering it. I mean, it's
not,
just
okay, not shattering it, but you were, I don't know, testing it, disagreeing with something people very passionately believe in, you know. So of course you're going to catch heat.
yeah. And just think about all the episodes we've made fun of Fresno for. I want to ask you, how many people do you think have come out and attacked us for
The Fresno Nightcrawler?
No, the Bigfoot episode.
Oh, how many people have attacked you for the Bigfoot episode? Do you actually have a number on that? I mean,
No, I don't. I can't count how many. Do you know how many people came out and attacked us for anything Fresno related, whether that was the jokes we made during John Lang or the Fresno Nightcrawler or any of the other episodes we've kicked Fresno in the ribs?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say 0.
Correct. Yeah. Not a single one. And you know why?
Because no one gives a shit about Fresno.
Well, that is one. But one is that people in Fresno know that that's the truth. And then the other reason is that the Fresno tweakers are too busy stealing copper wire from construction sites to listen to our show. So
this is true.
So anyway, yeah, this film has become kind of like the holy Bible of Bigfoot. I mean, this is the be all end all for most Bigfoot believers. And it's kind of, I wouldn't call it entertaining because that sounds like I'm being sadistic about it, but it's really, I'll say it's interesting to see people's reactions to this news. If you read like YouTube commenters and people like that, people are either in full denial mode or they're in meltdown mode. And it's just, I don't know, man, this whole thing has turned into some kind of a cultish religion. I mean, that's really the only way I can put it. And it kind of goes back to, I made a video a few months ago where I was talking about the narcissism of conspiracy theorists. And I think that this also applies to Bigfoot believers, where these types of people, they want to believe in something so hard because it makes them feel special. It makes them feel maybe privy to information that the average person isn't. They feel like they're in the know, so to speak. But
like a superiority complex a little bit.
Kind of like that, yeah. I think that it's kind of human nature to want to be privy to information that other people aren't. So that's why certain conspiracy theories are more appealing to some people more than others. So it's like, you know, where most of humanity believes that we went to the moon, there's some sort of minority that believes that we didn't, and everybody else is stupid, and they're the ones who have the right information because they want to separate themselves from the sheeple. They don't have a high view of the average person, and so they want to shit on whatever the average person believes. And
yeah, I gotcha.
So what's your take on this? I mean, do you have a take on this? Did you ever expect this to be debunked like this?
I mean, no. I mean, I also don't lose sleep at night over the Patterson-Gimlin film, you know.
You're not really a Bigfoot guy, so that's understandable.
Yeah, you know, yeah, when I was like a kid, you know, it's like, yeah, Bigfoot is real and he's out there, right? And, you know, of course, the Patterson-Gimlin film being, like you said, the end-all be-all. It was like the smoking gun. Like like obvious. Like all the other videos and pictures and footprints and everything that came after is like, maybe that's real, maybe it's not, but this was it. It's real. But like I said, you know, nowadays, like we haven't found Bigfoot or Mrs. Bigfoot yet, or bones or hair DNA samples or giant turds that we've done DNA matches on with all of our
giant ones.
Yeah, giant ones, right? And you can buy bitchin' infrared drones from Costco now, right? You can control with your cell phone, right? With all these people out there still hunting Bigfoot with all this new readily available technology, dude, I don't think Bigfoot's out there, you know?
Yeah. And so, are you familiar with the actual background story of the Patterson-Gimlin film? I mean, like, the characters involved and that sort of thing?
Um, Vaguely.
What do you know about it? Tell me what you know about it.
So I know that Patterson and Gimlin, right? It was Robert Patterson and
Roger.
Roger Patterson, and was it Bob Gimlin?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they they were what, these like cowboy type guys, right? And they were up in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, they were professional rodeo riders.
Yeah. But they had this inkling about Bigfoot, right? Like they went up there with a camera in search of Bigfoot, right? Like they weren't just filming the wilderness for fun, right? Like they were.
So, as the story goes, so Roger Patterson was interested in this subject for years, right? Years before this. He even wrote a book about it. He interviewed so-called witnesses in the area. So, what happened was Roger Patterson got cancer young. I mean, he was only in his 30s when he got cancer, and he was dying, and he wanted to make a documentary about Bigfoot, and so he and Bob Gimlin rented a camera and set out into the wilderness of Northern California to look for evidence of this creature. He wanted to just make a documentary. And as the story goes, they were just riding their horses up in this certain area, and they came around a bend and they saw the creature right there. I guess Roger Patterson's horse reared. He kind of fell off the back of the horse, and he rushed to grab the camera out of the saddlebag, and he grabbed the camera, he shot the footage as it was walking away from them, and that's the story.
Okay.
So after doing episode 24, I kind of concluded that Roger Patterson sort of went full Breaking Bad mode. You know, he went full Walter White, wanting to leave his family something that would help them pay the bills well into the future.
Yeah,
after he's gone.
Yeah, hasn't his family like made a lot of money by owning this video?
Yeah, and they still do. I know that Patricia Patterson, his widow, I think she's still around, and she's still making thousands of dollars a year off the royalties to this. And yeah, it makes perfect sense. You know, people think that these two guys had no reason to lie, when in reality they would have had a lot of incentive to lie about this and make this up.
Money's a big incentive for people to do a lot of things.
Money is probably the biggest incentive for anybody to do anything. I mean, minus sex or something. But
no, money's a pretty big incentive there. just look at what they call the world's oldest profession.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, with money you can get anything else you want. So anyway, what this documentary filmmaker did was he reached out to somebody. Somebody had this reel of film laying in their safe for over 50 years. Yeah, they showed it to Jeff Meldrum in the documentary. And according to people who have seen the documentary, in this scene, they show Jeff Meldrum this tape, and he looks visibly upset. And the filmmaker asks him, "What does this look like to you?" And Jeff Meldrum, he concedes that this looks like a dry run for the Patterson Gimlin film. And yeah, shortly after, he passed away from brain cancer. So I wish, or at least I hope, that he has some sort of a dead man switch to where he can talk about this beyond the grave.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was that he probably had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, so he wasn't able to actually come out publicly and talk about this.
Yeah. But so the reason that all this news is breaking, right? You sent me this YouTube video to watch. It's like a 33-minute video that I barely made 8 minutes into, right? Some dude was describing his experience about watching the newest Bigfoot documentary at South by Southwest, some big video movie premiere thing, and he seemed visibly like upset and distraught, and he was talking super slow, and I couldn't just keep listening. But yeah. but I guess this new documentary will come out for all of us to see really soon, and this video that you're talking, this 50, 60-year-old film that contains this dry run will be in this documentary.
Correct. And the documentary is called Capturing Bigfoot. So very generic sounding title, but that's what you got to look for once it comes out. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I got to admit though that I am a little bit disappointed that this was proven to be a hoax. I heavily suspected that this was a hoax from the get-go, but I would have much rather have seen this come out as being a real Bigfoot someday. I love the idea of Bigfoot. It's just, if I'm being intellectually honest with myself and with all of you listeners, I don't believe it's real. I just don't. I want it to be real, but if I'm being honest, I don't think it's real. What about you, man?
I mean, like I said, not anymore. And this is without like even like restudying the film, right? Because I heard the podcast episode you and Ivan did. And you guys talked about all the points, but like I have yet to actually play the video at like and actually take a good in-depth look. As an adult, it's just my theory, like I said, about the world being a much smaller place, and we have all the way high powered cameras and abilities to search and all this other stuff, and we've come up with zero concrete evidence that Bigfoot exists, right? Which leads me to believe that Bigfoot never existed, and this film is fake. I guess the only shred of hope would have been like this would have been maybe the last existing Bigfoot that they caught film of, and that's why we've never found Bigfoot. But then again, like you said, bones, we've never found Bigfoot. Bones.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's okay. people who vouch for this film and the people who believe, like the diehard believers in Bigfoot, they come up with all sorts of mental gymnastics and cope for why every year that goes by we still have no evidence of this thing. And it's starting to evolve into Bigfoot being an alien or an interdimensional being or like some sort of a spiritual thing.
Like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, I mean, does anyone even give a shit about the Loch Ness Monster anymore?
Well, I mean, I did is that a thing? Back when I gave a shit about Bigfoot, people still go up to Lake Loch Ness or whatever it's called up there in Scotland.
It seems like the whole mania around Loch Ness has kind of died down. I don't really hear anybody talking about it anymore.
Yeah, maybe not. But, that was one of the theories about Nessie, was that there was like underwater wormholes that the Loch Ness monster could swim in and out of and just pop up on different areas of the planet. And
it's starting to like get into this like Don Lemon MH370 black hole theory where it's like, do you remember when Don Lemon was talking on CNN when the Malaysian Airlines 370 was still missing, and he's like, is it possible?
No idea who Don Lemon is.
CNN anchor. But anyway, he was like, is it possible that the plane could have flown into a black hole? And it's
into a black. See, he didn't say wormhole. He said black hole.
Yeah, he said black
television.
Hole. I think he said black hole. And it's like, it's become a meme where it's like nobody takes Don Lemon seriously anymore. But anyway, there's so much cope and there's so much mental gymnastics going on when it comes to Bigfoot. And this film was the heaviest piece of evidence that hardcore believers would point to and say, there is no way that this could be a man in a suit because of XYZ reason. Yeah. And, assuming that the film in this documentary is legitimate, it is not looking good for their whole religion. I mean, I call it a religion because most of these people are fervent, and they'll attack you in the comments. I mean, if just for disagreeing with them, because I think it threatens to peel away the foundation of the whole reason for their existence.
Yeah, which is pretty rough. I mean, if believing in Bigfoot is a big core piece of who you are as a person.
Oh, and right? Especially if you've monetized Bigfoot. If you sell Bigfoot podcast subscriptions, or you sling
So
Bigfoot
what?
coffee mugs, or
So
whatever bullshit.
so what about the Patterson family, who still make royalties to this day off of this how many decades old footage?
So
1967,
my
right?
my understanding is that Roger Patterson's son Clint, or is it Clint or Cliff? I can't remember, but he was the one who wanted to come forward publicly and admit to this being a hoax. And his mom, when she learned that he wanted to come forward and call this a hoax, she basically wanted to disown him. And so for years, the two have not been getting along because she viewed this film as her nest egg. And Clint, I think this film was like weighing on his conscience because it felt like he was like feeding into this lie that was like destroying people's lives. You know,
Yeah.
people are going out into the wilderness, fucking slamming sticks into trees and shrieking as loud as they can, looking for this thing that in all likelihood isn't out there. But because of this film, it's convinced so many people that the possibility is out there, that this thing is out there, and people they want to go out there looking for this thing. Whereas I think Clint, he kind of sees this happening and he thinks this is fucked up. Like I need to talk about this, and stop these people from wasting what's left of their lives.
I mean, in my opinion, to each their own, right? Like everyone's got their hobbies and everyone's got their beliefs.
Yeah.
And like as long as you're not like hurting other people in the process, who really gives a shit what you're doing with your free time and your money?
Well,
You know?
isn't it kind of like hurting other people a little bit, because it's like it's at the very minimum it's a con job, because you're making money through dishonest means.
So,
You're
but
you're
that would
making
be
money off the backs of people's gullibility.
So, but that guilt and fault would lie solely on Patterson, Gimlin, and whoever wore the suit.
Right, but it's like, are you going to, like, for example, this is an extreme example, but what if you were privy to information like, I don't know, there was like some famous murder that happened and you know who committed the murder, but
But it's
they're
been
still looking,
unsolved forever.
they're still out
and
there, they're still out looking for the murderer, but you know who
Yeah.
it is.
It, especially if I'm making money off of being like a podcast or like a self-proclaimed expert.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
a good example, but it's like you're
I
you're
mean,
making money off of the backs of gullible people, and I would
I get
I
where
would
you're going with that, but I mean, so I get where you're going with that. But for all the people that sell Bigfoot mugs and T-shirts, right? Like whether they believe in Bigfoot or not, I believe they don't have the solid answer, right? It's just this Patterson, his wife, his widowed wife, and now apparently his son. Maybe another like a handful of people on like the earth. So if those people are making money off of this, then yes, they are hurting people, having 100% they know the truth. They have the evidence. They've known it's a hoax all along. But for everyone else, like I said, whether they believe in it or not, they're just cashing in on another person's hobby or beliefs,
Oh no,
People do
I'm
that
not.
all
I'm not. I'm not necessarily picking a bone with the people who are slinging coffee mugs and other bullshit. I'm mostly concerned with like how much this film has changed people's lives. I don't even know how many thousands of people have wasted their time looking for Bigfoot because of this film, and there's no more valuable currency on this earth than time.
Yeah.
And
I
money.
mean,
I mean, people spend money. They spend money on thermal cameras. They spend money on fucking gas money going up into the mountains. They spend money on all kinds of shit just to go look for Bigfoot. And this is the biggest reason why they do it, is this film. So if I was Clint, I think this would also weigh heavily on my conscience. It's like, especially after 67 years, how long has it been? It's been 69 years or something or sorry, not 69. 59? 59 years now since this film came
Yeah.
out. In my opinion, that's long enough. But, at the same time, like his mom was making money off of this. She wasn't working. She was a widow for however many years, and damn, it's a really rough place to be put in if you're the son of somebody who's raking in money from a scam.
Yeah, you know, and also it's a tough place to be put in. Like, you know, if you want to come forward with the truth, you also realize that you're, you know, shattering the deep rooted beliefs of like a lot of people who, like you
Yeah.
said, have spent a lot of time and money and their lives on this. You know, like imagine the people that have been hunting Bigfoot because they believe with every fiber of their being that Bigfoot is out there for the last like 40 years, right? It's
Hmm.
like their only hobby, you know? It's
Yeah.
like that's going to be really rough for, you know, the son of the dude who made this film to come out with damning evidence, irrefutable evidence that the film was fake, right? The most concrete piece of evidence of them all.
Yeah. So we've got a bunch of people. I'm curious to know how Bigfoot podcasters and the like are going to react to this. It's still fresh. I'm not aware of any official statements around any of the big podcasters or YouTubers, but this might ruin some of their careers, or at least put a huge dent into it, because this was touted as being like the Bigfoot believers' holy Bible. Like this film was the film to be like, this was the cornerstone of their belief. This was the film to judge other films by. So it's
Yeah.
like, if Patty is real, you need to compare other footage to Patty in order to confirm if the other footage is real.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, well, just like the BBC recreation, just like Planet of the Apes, you know, yeah, they all measure it against the film of Patty, the Patterson Gimlin film. It is the benchmark of all Bigfoot related pictures and videos. Yeah, you know, but I mean, when this comes out, what one way or another, right? You got to understand that humans are human. And a lot of humans do not like to admit that they're wrong about anything,
Oh God, no.
especially if they've been holding on to this and been like, you know, with every fiber of their being, like, Bigfoot is real. I will stake my life and my reputation and my career on this, right? If it comes out and it's, hey, 100%, this film wasn't real, it doesn't prove Bigfoot's not real, but it proves that your most solid piece of evidence, your benchmark for Bigfoot being real, was fake this whole time, right? The most hardcore are just gonna, like you said, keep coming up with XYZ reason and do mental gymnastics on why this new evidence is false. It does not disprove the original film.
Yeah,
You know?
and they're already coming out accusing the filmmaker of using AI to create this fake new footage, or
that was
faking
my-
it themselves, or whatever.
That was my first thought when this came up. It's like, hey, new video evidence from 1967 or from wherever that disproves the Patterson Gimlin film. I'm like, oh, we're in the age of AI and misinformation. You know, how do we know that this is real?
Yeah, and so, like, if we look at the 5 stages of grief, we're somewhere between denial and anger. I don't know how many people are going to truly get through all 5 steps into acceptance. I think it's going to be a minority. I think that a lot of these people, I think that there's going to be a sizable chunk of these people who are going to look at this objectively and be like, hey, you know, we were wrong. And they're going to humbly eat their crow and move on with their lives. But I think that especially the people who have made their money, their living, and staked their egos on this for decades or years, they're not gonna be swayed so easily.
I agree.
I think the whole ecosystem around Bigfoot, it's gone from folklore into this like closed loop human centipede almost, where people are just kind of like regurgitating the same old tired talking points and slop into each other's mouths, and then kind of like trying to pass it off to normal people as being like infallible or 100% true. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just
Yeah.
like,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
what do you do with no new evidence,
Yeah.
it's really all you can do.
All, most of it has just been just picking apart this piece of footage, and now it's looking like it's over, man.
So what next?
Yeah, what next? That's a good question. I think a huge portion of Bigfoot people are going to sort of move on from the Patterson Gimlin footage, and they're going to be like, well, just because this piece of film footage is fake doesn't mean that Bigfoot is, and they're going to keep on going out into the woods looking for it. And year after year, they're not going to find it. So yeah, it's like I hope that this really hasn't permanently ruined anybody's life. Although I think you can argue the damage has already been done. Where I know of at least a few people that I've heard of who have like left their families to go out looking for Bigfoot, and families have fallen apart because of this. And so going back to what's weighing on Clint's conscience, I can totally understand that this piece of footage has directly ruined a lot of people's lives because it's caused a lot of people's lives to diverge and go into directions they wouldn't have otherwise taken. And now it's been for nothing. I know it's hard to accept that it's been for nothing, but
I mean,
I hope
maybe
you
not
had fun.
for-
I hope you had
yeah.
fun.
That's what I was gonna say. Like maybe not for nothing, trying to look on like the bright side. Like who knows how many like good memories you've made with your friends,
all
and
the
people
friends
you've
you've made along the way, and
Yeah, just to all the people whose reality might be getting shattered here real soon. Just try to look on the bright side.
and
Try
to
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 rack up
any
all the positives.
to any of the Bigfoot people out there, I'm going to include some crisis hotline phone numbers. If you're thinking about doing something to harm yourself or others, I don't want you to do that. I want you to rethink that. Reach out to somebody who can help you. Yeah, we here at Super Mystery Bros, we care about you. Please don't do it. There's a lot left to live for. I mean, there's the Loch Ness monster. There's there's like the Mongolian death worm you can go out looking for.
There's always extraterrestrials.
Yeah, pivot to aliens or to even murder cases. But there's so much more to life than just Bigfoot. And I hope that if you're feeling like you want to harm yourself or others, that you reconsider and you get through this. Have somebody to talk to. Life isn't over. So anyway, man, do you have anything else you want to address before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
All right, man. Do you have any apologies, shout-outs, or clarifications this week? If you don't, it's fine. But
Dude,
I thought I would offer.
Yeah. Shout out to Chuck Norris and apologies to the
Oh,
world that he is no longer here.
God damn it. Yeah, I heard about that, man. Shout out to Chuck
Dude.
Norris. What a fucking legend.
Yeah,
This has been a hell of a week, man. Patterson Gimlin
Yeah.
proven fake, and now Chuck Norris is dead.
dude. The world is over. Chuck
God
Norris is
damn.
no longer around to keep the world spinning.
Fuck. His tears cured cancer, but it's just too bad he never cried.
Yeah, the world spins because he kicked it once and it never stopped spinning.
That's a fucking good one. I like that. I love that one.
Because
Because he roundhouse kicked it.
Yep. Dude, they've been all over the place. They've been great. If you're feeling distraught about learning that your favorite Bigfoot evidence has just been disproven, do yourself a favor and go look up some old Chuck Norris memes. It'll put a smile on your face.
Yeah, we're starting to sound like aging millennials at this point, though. Anyway, yeah, I want to give a shout out to the YouTube channel Harry Man Road for making that video right after he had seen the documentary premiere at South by Southwest. I thought that he did it in a very mature way. He's a Bigfoot believer, and you know, he was man enough to immediately come clean about it and be like, you know, look, guys, it's over. And I thought he was a very mature guy. He took it pretty well, and I just wish that more people could be like him. So,
well,
anyway.
that's good to hear. You know, it's good to hear. It's good to set a good example. I guess I'll apologize to Harry Manroad. Yeah, like I said, could barely stomach 8 minutes of that because I didn't know who that dude was. I had no idea who it was. To me, it was just some dude. It's being just some dude being way too dramatic about something I didn't fully care about. So
yeah, but dramatic.
I apologize. I apologize, Harry Manroad. I didn't realize who you were and that this is such a huge deal to you.
You got to understand that this is a huge deal to
a lot
of people who are into Bigfoot. So anyway, man, I'm not going to sign out of this show the normal way. I'm just going to say, go check out our YouTube channel because I'm going to start posting videos of myself kind of rambling on camera about various topics. I already got like 4 videos posted up. So be sure to subscribe to us there on our YouTube channel. Also subscribe to us on Instagram because yeah, we haven't gotten any new subscribers on Instagram in a while. So go do that. And if you're on Apple Podcast, please leave us a rating and review there. Even if you hate us, even if this episode pissed you off, you want to leave us a 1-star review, just do it. I don't care. Just we need reviews over there. So anyway, that's about all.